Facebook. Oh my God, Facebook. I'm sitting in front of my dentist office. Let me show you. Let me show y'all. See this? Modern dentist. I'm sitting here in front of my dentist office with a tooth knocked out of my mouth. Y'all see that? I got a tooth knocked out of my mouth. And I'm sitting here with no tooth in my mouth. And ladies and gents, I've been hiding. Hey Patrick, I've been hiding for a month from Facebook because I'm missing a tooth. And this is the what had happened story of how I got a tooth knocked out of my mouth. Okay, about 26 years ago, I tried to break up with a guy. And I told him I didn't love him anymore. And next thing you know, I'm seeing stars. And this tooth is knocked out of my mouth. And it's like, oh snap. So for 26 years, I've been walking around with this issue of hiding, of shame and guilt and pain and suffering, because what I thought had happened was someone knocked a tooth out of my mouth. And I've been like, okay, on this whole spiritual journey, this whole spiritual mission to level up and enlighten others and other women and other people who have had these experiences. And then all of a sudden, I'm asking God to go deeper in my spiritual journey. And I'm at dinner and this tooth falls out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to get on Facebook? This freaking tooth is gone. And then all of this anger came back like right away. And I'm like trying to deal with anger. Like, how did this tooth get out of my mouth in the first place? And because of who I am and because of my journey and what I've done, I've realized that the moment that you point a finger outwards and say, you did something to me, you're operating in victim consciousness. And when you're operating in victim consciousness, you're not operating in the consciousness that can heal. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, I'm on here with a missing tooth. You're not operating with a consciousness that's going to allow you to understand how you're supposed to take responsibility of what happens to you. So basically, let's look at this lawfully, from a lawful perspective. And I am a student of a mystery school student and a student of Hermetic Law. Now, law number one from the Hermetic teaching is all is mind. Everything is in your mind. So where on earth would I get the mindset that says I should be with someone who would knock a tooth out of my mouth? Well, I grew up in a violent home with violent parents and parents who solved their problems violently. And of course, when it was my turn to get involved in relationships, I found someone who matched that vibration. Now we're going into the law of vibration. I'm gonna put, I have a fake tooth. Look, I'm in front of my dentist's office. See the dentist? Hey Stacy, and the dentist gave me a fake tooth, so I'm gonna put it in because you know I can't be walking around looking like this. So lawfully, my mind was filled with the mindset that would attract an abuser, and that's what I did. You know, by vibration, my vibration went out and attracted someone who was feeling just as bad about themselves as I was feeling about myself, and so we ended up in this relationship. Vibratorial match. And the same way I was feeling about myself, the law of correspondence, as within, so without, as above, so below. So whatever was inside of me, the hatred, the self-hatred that I had inside of me of growing up in a certain kind of environment, I projected that outwards to a person that can show me to the level that I was hating myself. And that level was so low that it ended up with me, you know, watching a tooth knocked out, 3 more cracked. And I'm like, what in the hell, how did my life get this way? So I spent 26 years hiding this story of physical, emotional abuse, hiding this story behind a veil of I'm the bomb.com. I'm highly educated. I'm a scientist. I'm a social scientist. I created a whole persona instead of healing myself and dealing with the fact that, okay, this happened to me so I could see myself, so I could see that I was abusing myself, so that I could see that I was hurting myself. You know, I can't blame that person. He was one of my healing partners to show me the level and the depths of what I was feeling about myself. So there's no anger towards the person who did it. I'm looking at the person now as a person who was able to show me myself, to show me what I was doing to myself. Yes, sweetie, generational patterns, darling, but this is where it ends. You're never going to heal and end generational problems until you can see it. And I couldn't see it until I had a tooth knocked out of my mouth. And then even when that happened, I had to, my whole thing was hide it. Don't tell anyone. And this is what a lot of women and men deal with when they're in violent situations. They want to hide it. They don't want to tell anybody. They don't want anyone to know that this has happened to them. And they don't know how to heal from it. So all of this happened to me, victim level consciousness, so that I could see the level of how deep that I was hurting myself and how deep it was going. Okay? Hey, Veronica. And so 26 years still hiding in shame, you know, an advocate for women health, women's rights, women so forth. Yes, sweetie, I love you. And just let me just say this to you. I was in an hour and a half coaching session with my coach, and I'm a platinum client of Reverend Valerie Love, and I pay her a grip of money to coach me to the level that I can get on this live right now and tell you. She's like, look, this is your story. You get to tell it. You don't get to hide, because people who are willing to help millions of people, they don't get to hide. You don't get to hide your story. You don't get to hide the fact that at some point the story is that someone knocked the tooth out your damn mouth. And now there are hundreds of women right now about to get beat up in their homes by their husbands, boyfriends, or whomever, because you won't tell your story, because you won't tell what happened to you. You want to hide behind your titles and your MSW and your PhD and all these stuff, but you don't want to tell somebody at some time in your life you were vested so much in self-hatred and self-loathing that you let someone knock a tooth out your damn mouth. And you're not going to tell a story about how you healed from it. You're going to tell every other story but that one. But when that tooth fell out of my mouth at dinner a month ago, it just brought so much back to me. And I had to look at myself and say, hey, Mark, you know, you've come a long way. You've helped a lot of people, but you're still not willing to tell the doggone truth. And the truth is, if you are hating on yourself, you're going to attract people who are going to show you just how much you hate yourself. And at the time, I was very much vested in self-hatred. Not anymore. So God is saying to me, you got to tell this story. You have to tell the story of self-hatred and self-love. Now, I'm going to come out of this. I got my fake tooth. I'm going to show it to you. The dentist just gave it to me. And I'll tell you, this shit is going to cost me a lot of money, because the dentist is like, you know, you've been patching this tooth for so many years. There's nothing to patch anymore. We have to do a whole bone graft. We have to go in and do all of this stuff. And yeah, I have the tooth in here. Hey, T. And I'm going to stick it in my mouth, and I'm going to have my pretty smile again. But that means nothing if my story cannot help someone out there. Beautiful women out there who are in relationships with ugly men beating their ass. Okay? And it's not about somebody's beating your ass. It's about you letting someone beat your ass because you don't love yourself enough. Hey, sweetie pie. Because you don't know that you are valuable and precious and completely whole, like God created you to be. Like, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see the beauty of myself. I couldn't see the beauty of God's creation. I couldn't see that God created me as God wanted me to be, whole and healthy and happy. No, I created a whole different story. A whole different story of abuse, of pain and suffering, and projected that story out there, and it came back in the form of someone who was all too willing to show me how vested I was in that story. But no more, because I can sit up on this lie with a tooth missing and let y'all know that you are valuable, not because of what someone says, but because God said. Because God gives you your value, not a tooth, not someone who'll knock it out, not any job that you have, not any title, not anything. If you don't see yourself as valuable, you're going to project how you feel about yourself out there in the world, and the world is going to show you exactly what you feel about yourself. And I didn't feel anything about myself. I let someone hit me, spit on me, pull knives on me, guns and whatever, and then was so willing to blame them. You did this to me. No. When you move out of victim level consciousness and realize everything is up here and you're projecting it outwards, then you're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to end abusive relationships. You're going to stop abusing yourself, and you're going to look and find the people around you that support you and love you. And yes, sweetie, self-love. You're going to learn to love yourself. So I'm going to put this fake tooth in. It's like an Invisalign, if y'all had Invisalign with a tooth. And then I have my pretty smile back again. But just know that when you go on a venture of self-love and self-recognition, you're going to recognize what you've been doing to yourself all these years, and you cannot blame anyone anymore, because everything starts from within. Lawfully, all is mine. You are creating this you created a story, you project it outwards, it comes back to you with precision. Okay, so listen, ladies and gents, I'm gonna put my fake tooth in right before your eyes, and I'm working. It's gonna cost a lot of money to get this implant in. It's like almost $7 grand, because I wasn't willing to tell this story years ago and heal from it years ago. Now it's gonna cost me $7 grand to get a new tooth, and hopefully my story is going to really help other people. Veronica, don't be don't be pissed, sweetie, because guess what? All lessons are lessons God wants you to learn. And this is a lesson that he's been teaching me for years, and I've been ignoring it and ignoring it and ignoring it. It's not about being a victim. It's about self-recognition. It's about recognizing what you're doing to yourself and recognizing when you're not practicing self-love. So let me put my fake tooth in. Hold on. I'll go blue line. See? Back in. Y'all can't tell. See, I could have put this fake tooth in and lied and said, and get on my lives and be like, oh yeah, everything is fine and dandy. Yeah, sweetie pie, life is great. And let me tell you something, life is great. Life is wonderful. I have like the most charmed life right now. But see, this is the thing. When I was at dinner and that tooth fell out, God is like, you have got to tell this story. If you don't tell this story, I will make all your teeth fall out. Well, God didn't say it like that. God didn't say it like that. I promise you, God didn't say it like that. But what God did say is you are hiding, and there's an aspect of shame and guilt, and you don't get to live a big, fat, beautiful life inspiring millions and millions of women if you're still hiding in shame because of something you think someone did to you when you did it to yourself. You attracted that person that knocked the tooth out your damn mouth. You did it, Denise. You did it. Because if you were practicing self-love and you were on a higher vibration, never would you vibrate that low to attract someone that would hit you. So, I mean, this is National Domestic Violence Month, and y'all can't tell me shit about domestic violence because I grew up with violence, okay? Before I was even born. You know, if you read my book, let me find my book. If y'all read my book, Workplace Voodoo, in one of these chapters, I talk about my birth creation story and just where violence entered the equation. And violence entered the equation even before I was born. So if you want to read that story, pick up my book. There's a chapter in here that talks about my story with regards to where this stuff comes from. So when we think generationally, yeah, it's generational. And how do you stop it? With the same mind that absorbed all of that, or you change your mind and you change your life. So I've been on a plan to change my mind and understand that from a lawful perspective, that nobody can hit you or hurt you if you're not hurting yourself. Let that sink in. This is just my story. You get to tell your story. My story is that one time I was so vested in self-hatred and self-destruction that I found people who mirrored that for me and showed me to the level that I was willing to harm myself. And now that I have to work on this tooth business, God is like, you're not going to inspire millions of women if you keep hiding and lying. Because there's no lie in God. And you have to really be transparent and willing to heal publicly so that other people can heal. Because when you heal, you don't heal alone. When I heal from my abuse history, do you know how many women are going to be healed? Do you know how many people are going to be set free from this story right here? Do you know how many people are going to read this book and be set free from a lot of things? This book, hold on. This book is just my idea. It's an idea that was given to me by God. Why? Because of all the things that I went through. God is like, you're going to tell this story. I'm like, why me, God? Why not? Everyone has a story. What is your story? You get to tell it. Mine is about overcoming and leveling up to a point where I can be free and free to share the most painful, guilt-ridden parts of my life, share it freely with you all, and let you know that you are the only one that's stopping you. You're the only one that's preventing you from having a great life. Why? Because of how you're thinking. Change your thoughts, change your mind, level up. When you decide to do that, you're never going to know what's going to happen, but God is going to require all of you. Every last bit of you, everything. God, when y'all sing that song in church about shine the light from heaven on my soul, when God shine that light on you, God shining that light to dig up everything that's in you that's not of God. Anger is not of God. Suffering and pain and all that stuff is not of God. God is love. And if you're not into love and loving yourself, and you ask God to shine that light on you, he's going to show you where you're not loving yourself. He's going to show you where you're not valuing yourself. God is going to show you everything because you ask. God ain't got nothing else to do but to show you yourself. And I found myself with a tooth hanging out and $6-7 grand of debt to fix it. And I don't even care because guess what? This is my life and my story, and this is how it came out. And I pray that I can help anyone who, oh, sweetie, you got time. Keep reading the book, and share widely with others. Listen, this is between me and God, and I'm just sharing it with you because God wants me to be out there, and out there, tooth missing or not, you got to do God's work. God don't care. I'm not a body. I'm in a body. My soul is contained in this body, but this body is dying every day. It's not the real me. And if you think this body is the real you, then you need to read this book. Start with that. Don't mind the title. That title was divinely given to me. But this book is about understanding who you are. The next one is coming. And it's going to be like what you're supposed to be doing. What you're supposed to be doing is sharing and helping others. Helping them along their journey. And you use your life. And right now, I'm using my life to help a lot of women who are like me, highly educated, highly decorated, successful careers, but at some point in life, someone, I'll take this out, knocked the tooth out their goddamn mouth. and they think someone did it but themselves. So ladies and gents, as I put my tooth back, it's going to take a couple months to get this tooth fixed. Thank God for modern dentistry. But I can hide it all I want, but it's not going to help you. This fakeness is not going to help you. Realness is what's going to help you. And the realer I become, the more I can bring real help and motivation and inspiration to others. So keep watching, ladies and gents. Y'all know I have been off of Facebook for a month because I was hiding and I couldn't come to grips with a tooth hanging out my mouth. But I really appreciate y'all watching. I'm out here in the West Coast, so you know, it's still bright out. Y'all can see it. It's still bright out. And I'm still at my dentist's office, and I have another meeting to attend. I'm going to be attending a meeting with some lawyers, some cannabis lawyers. These lawyers are dealing with people who get in trouble or have issues related to cannabis use or misuse or whatever and the law. So there's a lot heating up out here on the West Coast with regards to cannabis. You know, I'm interested in cannabis as a plant healer because I am a plant healer and spiritual alchemist and stress reliever, and basically I'm learning everything that I can. I'm in Ganja University. I'm learning Ganja 101. And today is Ganja and the Law. So I'm going to be hanging out with lawyers tonight. And maybe I'll take some pictures and maybe I'll go live. But ladies and gents, I really love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who's along with me on this journey. And I thank you so much for listening. And I promise I'll keep my tooth in. I'll keep my tooth in. And I'm out. Deuces. Love you. Bye. Mwah.